YouTube, welcome back to another video. Different video for you this week. We're doing a Q&A. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, which I'll put up something here, you need to, because most weeks I put up a Q&A box. I give people a chance to ask me questions and I'll give my opinion or give an answer and give some information over on my stories. So in this week's video, I wanted to take some of those questions from my Instagram and obviously give you some answers here. So the first question, straight in with a heavy hitter, 50 grand cash. Justin, what would you do with this money? Obviously, I'd YOLO it into crypto. No, obviously not. I'm a big property guy, and until I've cracked the property market, when I say that, I mean, till I've built a portfolio, till I've really learned how to do multiple flips, maybe source lots of deals, I'm not looking to massively diversify into other markets. I do a bit of investing on the side, but really my full focus is in property. So taking that 50 grand, what would I do in property if I was just starting out? I'm a big believer in obviously ownership. So that kind of rules out any of the rent to rent or lease option type of strategies. And I'm going straight into ownership. So then what would I do with that 50,000? I'd probably be looking similar route to what I did, which is buy to let. But instead of maybe doing a turnkey and holding up that money, I'd of course be looking to do the holy grail, which is buy, refurbish, refinance. So £50,000, you might use 30 or 40,000 pounds of that in finding a property that's below market value, adding the value, and then refinancing, hopefully all, if not most of that money back out. And you could probably repeat that along the way. You are going to lose a small portion of your money through fees, through unexpected costs and anything like that. But you could probably make that £50,000 turn 2-3 buy-to-lets instead of maybe 1 or 2. The other option is maybe do buy, refurbish, refinance, and then maybe move on to do 1 or 2 flips and immediately replenish that capital. In fact, you could even start by doing flips, which I think is a great strategy, which is massively underrated and maybe underused. Even though anyone that's just getting into property, that's probably the first thing you're aware of. You hear property developers, you hear people talking about flipping houses, and then when you start to immerse yourself, you think, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to have ownership and rent them out? Which it is, but equally flipping property is something where you can make profit, build up your capital, and then if you keep building that pot, then it becomes easier, A, to find deals in the future because you've built that as a skill, but B, you've got a bigger pool of capital that then you can take to purchase buy-to-lets in the future. And if you go out with both in mind, that you might want to do a BRR or a flip, then you can really let the actual property tell the story. You can find a house, you can go, right, this is a great project, this is the refurb cost, and then at the end I will refinance, or at the end I'll flip, and you let the property tell the story as you want it to, and you either hold it or you sell it. So £50,000, I'd be looking at BRR or flips or a combo to really make that money stretch as far as possible. Next question, in BRR, do the tenants move in before the refinance? So another question about buy, refurbish, refinance, or another answer relating to that. And the answer is, it could be either. There is no set rule. For me, actually, my intention was always to get that refinance process moving before the tenant moved in. However, with the refurb going over time and over the schedule we'd originally set, I just had to get a tenant in there. I needed that property to start cash flowing, just made the tenant and the agent aware that I am going to be having a revaluation done very soon. And I don't necessarily think there is a better or worse case scenario. Of course, prior to the tenant moving in, perhaps the house is looking really nice, really clean, perfect situation for evaluation. However, if it's just 2 weeks after a surveyor's going in and the tenant's moved in, I don't think that's really the end of the world. The surveyor is looking at the comparables in the street. He's looking at the quality of the house, not the way in which the people live in it, hopefully. So in answer to that question, it doesn't matter, but if you can, try and do it moving the tenants in. If you can't, don't let it stress you out too much. Next up, do you have any programs or tools to help manage your property viewings? Had you asked me this at the beginning of the year, I'd have said yes. I've been implementing a few different softwares, trying them out to see which is the best way for me to manage a trip to Liverpool where I'm doing 20 viewings over 2 or 3 days. And I was really, getting into a good flow of finding some software, helping myself kind of manage that a bit easier. However, after trialing a few different softwares, including something like Trello, I actually found that I wanted to strip it back, go old school, and just go spreadsheets. So I know that is very old school, and I don't like the fact I can't see the picture of the house because I'm very visually orientated. However, spreadsheets with just lists of addresses and the dates and times of the viewings, it's just, for me, is keep it simple. To be honest with you, that's pretty much a rule of life and business in many instances, is that you can sometimes overcomplicate things, whereas actually the best thing you can do, strip it back, keep it simple, go on these viewings, make sure you're following up right. A simple spreadsheet should be absolutely fine for managing your viewings. The next question here is from Steve, and this says, when do you expect the next downturn in the property cycle? And wouldn't I love to know the answer to that question? As we all say, I haven't got a crystal ball, but I do expect for it to be in kind of that next 2 to 5 year window. I'm a big believer in following the 18-year property cycle. I think it provides the evidence of what's happened over the last few decades. I think we're very much in a good market right now, and anyone that was around in 08, 09, what it feels like to be in a bad market. But for anyone that has been an investor since 08 or 09 has had it very easy, and that includes myself. And in the good times, we're very quick to forget the bad times. But I think with everything that's going on with inflation rises, potential interest rate rises, I think it's fairly likely that over the next year or two, we might not see a downturn, but we'll certainly start to see things ease off, maybe plateau. And I believe that maybe come 2024, 2025, 2026, I know 3-year window, that we'll start to see potentially a downturn and adjustment in the market. How can we plan for that and preempt it? Well, don't go overboard and over leverage yourself. Always have a bit of a cash reserve, and just remember to play the long game. So 5, 10, 15, 20-year investing, not 2-year investing, because then you will get caught out. So that's this week's Q&A video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I am hoping to implement more of these over the upcoming months. So if you've got a question, drop it in the comments box below, because next time I record one, I'll be coming back to these comments to see what questions you want answered. And of course, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next week.